a friend who applied for a women's scholarship, and he is not a woman, but he got it because nobody else applied for it.
Hey everyone, this is Yvette Hampton. Welcome back to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. I am back today with Kara Walker. We are talking about how your kids can go to college, how they can graduate from college for, not for free, but for very little money and come out debt free. And that's really the key here is we don't want to send our kids off to college and have them come back with, $80 or $100 or $150,000 in debt that they then have to spend, a good part of their adult life paying off. And I know this because I have many friends who this has happened to them, and it's a hard situation to be in. And so for those of us who have kids who are college bound, this is a fantastic topic to think through and to plan through so that we can give our kids this gift of being able to go to college and come out with no debt. So Kara is here to help us with this. But before we get back into our conversation, I want to thank our sponsor, CTC Math. Go to ctcmath.com. Try them out for free. They're a great online math program. ctcmath.com. You will be pleased. Kara, welcome back to the podcast. We were talking in the last episode on Monday about some ways that kids can get through college debt-free. And you said you had lots of other ways other than what you talked about. You talked about CLEP tests and some other things. Share some other ways. And some you said are things that you didn't even know at the time, but that you have learned since then. And so help us out. Help out us parents who are trying to get our kids to the finish line of high school and then into that next phase of the world of college for those kids who are college bound.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for having me again. So I literally almost said welcome because I'm used to interviewing people. Thank you for having me. I want to actually correct you if you don't mind. There are ways
Sure.
that students can get this for free, entirely free.
Okay.
And I will expound on some of those, but that's not
Yeah.
necessarily guaranteed because it depends on their life situation and their degree and major and the school they go
Sure.
to. So,
Okay.
but there are free options. So if you don't mind, I will start at that like absolute free possibility, and we
Okay.
can build up on other ideas because it might not apply to your student situation.
Sure.
So there is a website that I would love anyone to go to that's called Homeschooling for College Credit. And
Okay.
so the concept is, as you're teaching your students in even middle school, it depends on the student's academic level and what they like doing if they're self-motivated, but hypothetically middle school through high school, whatever you're teaching them already, they're getting an algebra class and history and science of some sort, that can coincide with study guides for CLEP tests, DSSTs, etc., that once your student is done with just their normal year of learning, they can go and try to test out of these classes so that in essence, as they're finishing their year of high school, whatever, even just freshman, sophomore, whatever, they can get college credits for it. That's this basis idea. Now, on top of that, though, have you ever heard of Modern States?
No.
Now, it's a company that has study guides for CLEP tests. Now, this is only CLEP tests at the moment, that do study guides and voucher programs. So you can get a voucher from them and use it for the payment of a CLEP test at a testing center. So they will basically pay for you to take a CLEP test. And CLEP tests tend to be those more, they're easier to transfer. Quite a few schools accept them. Like generally most any mainline school accepts them, but it's still good to check. And also they can be they're like first year or two prerequisites for college, right? So you can get up to a year or two for free with this pattern. And the idea is, with this website, Homeschooling for College Credit, they have a list of amazing, good to limited transferability of other types of tests like this. Now, they're not all covered through Modern States necessarily because CLEP is usually the most popular, but it's still great if you're interested in looking at that website for a list of different types of tests that can be taken like this. And again, this can depend on your student. Are they self-motivated? Will they need to be in a classroom? But I'm just starting at that base level of of free schooling. So let's
Yeah.
say hypothetically your student has gone through all of this. I mean, they could graduate from high school with the equivalency of like an associate's degree if you want to do that, transfer it somewhere. And again, it doesn't have to be extra stress like, I just want my kid to enjoy high school, not think on college yet. It's not even that. It's just like use this as their final exam. Like it doesn't even have to be an added stress, or it could if like your student is really academically focused, right?
Yeah.
But the coordinator of this website, Homeschooling for College Credit, is actually an advisor at Excelsior College.
Okay.
Excelsior is one of the big three who accept unlimited transferability or transfer credits. So there's also Thomas Edison State University and then Charter Oak State School, I think it's called. The crazy thing about that is I will give an example of several people I've known who've done this, but one friend who basically was homeschooled and he was very self-motivated and he did all of this crazy testing out and transferred so much to Thomas Edison. I'm just going to shorten it for that. That he not only took CLEPs, but DSSTs, other types of tests. He would just study on his own. You can do it with friends. If you listen to the last episode, I did it with a friend. That gives you motivation. And he could transfer all of it to Thomas Edison and not go. It was just transferring, taking it at a testing center. And he
Yeah.
graduated with his bachelor's at 19 for like $3,000 because it's like how
Wow.
cheap to transfer. Now, literally, what if your student got all of those things for free? I don't think he knew about modern states.
Hmm.
What if your student had a graduation party and got, I'm just going to example, $2,000?
Hmm.
And then what if your student, I guess if they worked or if they got some scholarships with the school, that could be a virtually free degree. So there are
Yeah.
so many options for free, as well as some maybe more aware of like dual enrollment at
Hmm.
a college. Now, if you don't want your kid to go into a college at this point, that's a mute point. But that's the
Right.
idea that even public schoolers and homeschoolers can get free classes at a community college like that, or a middle college, which is usually on site at a community college, but is also high school classes. But then they're not really homeschooled anymore, so I guess that doesn't. So those are the start. I mean, we got more beyond that. We can talk grants, scholarships, other things, but that's
Yeah.
that basis level of free. And we can go on. I mean, even how I got paid to like take notes and do homework. Like there are more
Oh,
tips.
wow. Yeah, I want to talk about those things, but first, really quickly, talk about dual enrollment because I know that that's something that a lot of homeschool kids do today is dual enrollment. Did you do that? Was that part of
No,
your? No,
I
you didn't.
didn't
Okay.
because of what was open when I was graduating and the school and whatever, and I already had a pattern down. I didn't do that, but it's a great opportunity. So again, your student could probably get, I'm doing that base level, right? Of like
Right.
motivated, free. Your student could
Yeah.
probably get a ton more in by testing out of classes. However, and this is not a bad thing, every student's different. If you're the idea of like going and being in a class,
Hmm.
dual enrollment is great. So it's the idea that a high school student can take college classes for free and
Right.
oftentimes free textbooks too, but I think that can depend on the program.
Hmm.
And, you know, do it as they're finishing through high school and get college credits by the end,
Yeah.
and once they graduate and go to a community college, then they're paying for it. But if they're still technically in high school, that's when the free amount comes. But it can really depend on the program near you. So you might want to check into intricacies,
Right.
nuances that might be different. But even
Right.
to the point of if someone's homeschooled, you can kind of decide when your student graduates. Now, I'm not saying have a 27-year-old and they're a senior in
Right.
high school, but like sometimes it can overlap to be like 18 to even 19, still
Uh-huh.
counting them as a senior and
Right.
getting free college. So that is a
Yeah.
great option.
Yeah, yeah, no, agreed. And I know a lot of Christian colleges today do dual enrollment as well. As a matter of fact, we talk about that in the movie Schoolhouse Rocked. We have a representative from the Master's College, and she talks about dual enrollment through the Master's University, and I know many Christian universities offer that, which is great because I think especially with our kids, once they get into high school, we still need to be really careful about who's teaching them and what they're being taught. But if they're taking some of those college classes and they're under the umbrella and protection of their parents, they can get some of those credits taken care of. But I still think we need to be very careful about who we're allowing to teach our kids. Let's take a break. We will be right back.
What we do at IEW is break through the noise of the grammar and the writing prompts, and we say, this is what you do, step by step. And I've witnessed it over and over again, both watching Andrew teach and hearing from parents, this is the best writing program. We've made it so easy and made it really affordable. So any mom can teach writing to their children using our course, and we guarantee it.
To try 3 weeks of free lessons, visit IEW.com. We are back with Kara. Continue with your story, because I want to know more about just how, the Lord opened up doors for you. I'm sure he probably closed doors, which maybe, if he did, was maybe discouraging to you, but perhaps you realized, I don't know. I mean, tell us your story. I would just imagine that some would be open, some would be closed, and
Sure.
You just trusted him with the direction he wanted to take.
Some of the closed was more like, I was like, oh, I'm taking longer to go through college. Like, am I missing something kind of thing? And that would be discouraging. But I mean, I took longer to finish college and I was done debt free. So in my mind, it's entirely worth it. But that was more of the struggle on that. But yeah, coming from testing out of classes, the next step was I did a couple night classes while I was working. And so I came into some things slowly. Sometimes I was full-time, sometimes part-time, and I am all for that depending on your student. I was committed. I liked school. I was going to finish. I know some people, if they stop or go part-time, they won't finish. It depends. But in my story, that's what I did. And I did that at my local community college. And honestly, I just paid cash from my graduation party money because I hadn't even used it yet because I'd just been testing out of classes. I had gotten 30 college credits. I got 1 year. I had gotten 1 year, 15 college credits for $600 with testing out of classes, which could have done for free if I had known about modern states. But now you guys know, so now you can.
Right.
So then I just did a couple night classes. I just paid for it out of pocket. And then I was like, I want to get this going faster. Not that I need to be the fastest or it's competition, but I just wanted to feel like I had more traction.
Mm-hmm.
So I heard about a choir scholarship with our community college, but I had heard about it late just because when we heard from the family, the deadline was passed. This is something I so really encourage my listeners in the podcast is to politely bug people and initiate and check and all the things, because I reached out to the director and she's like, well, actually somebody gave back the scholarship because they're not going to be here next year. So yeah, you can come audition. I was like, okay, God's opening doors and things and all whatever. And let me just say, some people think community colleges don't have as many scholarships. I do not know where that idea came from because I've always seen great scholarships with community, but maybe it's the one near you. I don't know, but look into it. So I auditioned late, like very late, and I got it. I got into this choir scholarship choir program. And when I say program, it was literally practice once a week. It wasn't even like an organized program.
Right.
And once a week practice, and then we had a few performances throughout the year, all on campus, not traveling. I got full ride scholarship for 2 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And that is, I feel like that's God, but I also feel like the story of that is checking into things, even if it seems like you don't quite qualify or it might be a little late. And I can't guarantee it's going to be open for you, but I have a friend who applied for a women's scholarship and he is not a woman, but he got it because nobody else applied for it.
Oh gosh.
So, I mean, there's just like scholarships are great. Like that's just what to learn from it. Now, also so I had tested out of, which sounds crazy to do, but I had tested out of English comp with CLEP tests. But I could take an advanced composition class and become a writing fellow, which was essentially a writing tutor. And if you're a writing fellow, you get one class free. It's also a scholarship program. So you're not really paid, but that's how you do that. So because I already had full ride scholarship, I had money on a gift card for the bookstore. So I got free textbooks for like the rest of the time I needed. And then later when I transferred to my university, I still had 2 classes I could take at my community college. And this might sound crazy, but I went to 2 colleges at the same time for a while, because I could stay a writing fellow and get my class for free at the community college while I also went to Eastern Michigan University, where I went. So it's just like I got to a point where I had full tuition and full books and full just fees paid for. And that was
Wow.
God, but that was also initiating, because to become a writing fellow, you had to get a professor to recommend you. Well, I
Okay.
just went and asked a professor to recommend me. Like, I didn't
Wow.
wait. I just went and asked. And so I think it's just initiate and bug people and pray. That's pretty much my
Yeah. Yep. Sounds great. All right. We are out of time, but we're going to come back tomorrow, finish talking about this. And I have a couple of other questions for you just in regards to college as a young Christian homeschooled girl. So we'll be back to talk about those. You guys, thank you for listening. We will put links to Kara's podcast in the show notes. And if you guys have not yet watched Schoolhouse Rocked, the Homeschool Revolution, go to our website, schoolhouserocked.com. You can purchase the DVD. You can download the movie through the website. I hope you guys will watch it if you haven't yet. It will encourage you, especially as we're getting into this new school year. We all need this encouragement. So if you are brand new to homeschooling or have been homeschooling for 20 years, watch the movie. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great afternoon. Bye.
Education is discipleship, and this is something I didn't understand until I was probably 3 years into homeschooling. The Bible teaches us in Luke 6:40 that when a student is fully trained, he will be like his teacher. And as we look around the culture right now, I think it begs the question, who is teaching our children? Who is teaching our children, and what are they teaching our children? And to me, the primary benefit of having my children home with me is I am able to impart my worldview to my children